The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a little oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him, and afterwards shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." I love this story because it tells us something about how miracles are done. It takes God's unlimited supply with our actions of faith. How many of y'all know God has greater blessings than we have the capacity to receive them? She determined how much prosperity she was going to have. She determined how much oil God was going to cause to flow. The moment she ran out of jars, what happened? The oil stopped flowing. And that's the way it is with us. God wants to keep the oil flowing, but when He runs out of a capacity in our life to keep flowing His blessings, then He has to stop. I don't know about you. I want to keep the oil flowing. I want to keep the jars coming. I want God to say to me, "Tom, I just want to keep blessing you because you have empty jars. You keep opening your capacity for me to keep blessing." So today's message is about increasing our capacity to receive from God. How much capacity do you have? I like what Elisha said to her. Don't ask for just a few. Now, he knew this woman was a small thinker because when he asked her, "What do you have in your house?" she said, "Nothing. No, except a little oil. Just a tiny bit of oil." She had small thinking. So when he told her, "You go around and ask your neighbors for jars, but don't ask for a few. Expand your thinking." And I'm so glad she began to start thinking bigger. She had small thinking on her mind, but before she left, she had big thinking on her mind. And I feel like I'm speaking to some people right now on television and here in this sanctuary that you're having little in your thinking, but before you leave, you're going to have abundance in your thinking. You're going to quit thinking, "I just have a little oil," to keep bringing the jars, keep bringing the jars. And the oil's going to keep flowing. And she had so much prosperity, she was able not only to pay the creditors, but she had enough to live on for the rest of her life. How many of y'all would like that kind of blessing? But it's up to you. She determined how much oil was going to flow. After all, what was the point of God continuing to flow the oil if she didn't have any jars to hold them? That would just be wasted blessings. And God's not going to keep pouring His blessing if you don't receive it. You see, and so the message today is let's increase our capacity to receive. I know the economy may be down, but God is still on His throne. Yeah, but you don't know my boss. Yeah, but I know my Lord. And the Lord is your provider, not your boss. See, God has promotions in store for you. He has raises lined up for you. "Oh, I'll never get a raise." Not in this economy. See, what are you doing? You're closing up your capacity to receive. You need to start saying, no, it doesn't matter the economy. God is going to find a way to bless me. I just received a call from one of our members, Jerry. Jerry told me that for a long time he was trying to find a job but couldn't find one. But, he was coming to church. He was believing God, trust, and giving whatever he could give. And he's believing God for a door to open for him. Sure enough, 2 months ago, he got hired by Red Lobster. When he first started working, he worked in the back, not as a server. How many of y'all know the servers is where they get the tips, right? But he was faithful there, did the best he could, believed God for increase. They liked his job so much, they promoted him to be a server. Now, if you've ever been to some of the restaurants that are franchises, they often ask you to call a number and to tell, your experience and to rate your service there. Well, before he knew it, the people that he was serving was raving about his service to the community, to the restaurant. And that restaurant used to be on the bottom, near the bottom of the Red Lobsters, but just his surveys alone started to lift up the restaurant to being one of the best ones. The manager said, "You're kind of like the rising star in our group right now." And after just 2 months of working there, he is now the assistant manager to the restaurant. 2 months. And I believe you're going to be a Jerry, and you're going to expand your thoughts, and you're going to say, you know what? God can do it for me. God's a God of increase. God's a God of acceleration. God's a God of abundance. I'm going to have lots of jars. I'm not going to just think small. I'm not just going to think a little, but I'm going to think big. God says, open your mouth, and I will fill it. God can't fill a closed mouth. You ever try to feed your baby who did not want that baby food? You can do, come on, here's the It's not working. See, and God cannot fill you with blessings if you don't open your mouth. Some of you, you're looking to God, you're praying, but after you pray, you're tight-lipped. Then you wonder why God's not filling you with blessings. You got to open your mouth. People that are with tight lip, they're the people saying, oh, it's a tough year. I don't think I'll meet my sales goal. I don't think I'll ever get promoted. I don't think I'll ever get well. Say, God, I'm ready to receive. But you got to increase your capacity. You got to get those empty jars. You got to say, God, you have something great for me. I'm not going to limit the blessings to my small thinking.